You're only allowed to change tire pressures. You're not allowed to work on the car. Well, they worked on the 59, so that.
Welcome along to the second round of the Continental Tire SportsCar Challenge. We're live from Sebring International Raceway in Central Florida. What a brilliant venue for motor racing. Situated in Florida's heartland, just a short hop down the interstate from where we were, 3 or 4 weeks ago. Up at Daytona, 3 3/4 miles, 17 corners, a packed infield for the 65th running of the Mobil 1, 12 hours of Sebring. But this is your aperitif. Turn 1, fast, bumpy, scary, hang on. Turn 7, hard braking, new tarmac there, but still can catch out the unwary. Turns 10, 11 and 12, get the rhythm right there or lose lap time. And turn 17, fast, bumpy, scary, hang on. And that's all going to happen in round about 2 minutes and 15 seconds for these guys for the next 2 hours. The Corvette pace car as it is now, resplendent with its Visit Sebring 120 livery. As it brings the field around, if we see it again, it will of course be the safety car. Let's hope we don't. Jeremy Shaw and John Hindorf in the IMSA Radio and TV Broadcast Centre on the start-finish line. It's Shea Adam and Jim Roller down in the pit lane, our Continental Tire pit lane reporters. Jeremy.
I think we saw the number 73 Mini slowing up at the end of that first parade lap. It qualified 5th position. That is the car that won at Daytona. So I hope they were able to get it going again and will be in position for the start.
So everybody forming up Noah's Ark 2x2 down the long Ullman back straight, just passing the back of the pits. My goodness, the parking is full on the driver's left of the straight. I haven't seen that many cars and RVs down there for a very long time indeed. This looks like a bumper crowd this weekend. Sarah Cattaneo on pole position in the 44 Nissan for the ST category at the head of the field. Jade Buford has the cars under his control. The green flag waved by Cindy Garron, and we are racing down towards turn number 1. Ford gets a decent run. The number 60 car has gone through and into the first corner. The McLaren of Paul Holton just shuffled back for a moment into 3rd position. Yes, confirmed that. And that's because the 69 car has gone up a position. So a nice clean start by both of the packs there. What a great start by the Motorsport in Action, Faf McLaren and Chris Green.
Yeah, indeed. And he is the program manager for the McLaren importer, the Faf Automotive Group in Toronto, is Chris Green. And he'd made a great start there. He's a former champion in Porsches, and he's making his mark now in the McLaren as well. Number 73 Mini, by the way, did take the start, but at the very back of the pack.
So Buford, Green, Holton, Keegan in 4th place. Whoa. In the 77 car, but there's a battle on from the back of the grid, remember, after that sporting regulation infraction, working on the car during qualifying. You can adjust tyre pressures, but that's all. But Jack Rouse Jr. already up to 9th position in the GS category. Matt Keegan, by the way, making a good start as well in the 77 McLaren. Ford, Macca, Porker, Aston. That's how it stands in the top 8 at the moment. This is really becoming a very interesting series for me with the GT4 cars up front. We've always had great racing. We're now getting the variety in the car manufacturers and those prestige manufacturers coming to play with the American brands as well of Ford, and we've got the Camaro coming through soon as well. Next time we see these cars. Meantime, Sarah Cattaneo is on the back of a couple of Porsches there.
Yeah, she's dropped to 4th place here. It's James Clay who's made a fantastic start in that BIMA World BMW car number 84. He leads from those 2 Caymans of Jeff Mosing in the orange and black car, just ahead of Devin Jones in the number 31 Body Motion Cayman.
Sarah knows that this is not a 5-lap sprint. We've seen this before. She'll be bringing those Continental tyres up to pace. Remember, that's a front-wheel drive car, that Nissan Altima, as opposed to the rear-wheel BMW and the mid-engine rear-wheel drive of the two Porsches. Front of the field, McLaren battle for second and third. Green and Holton. And Paul Holton recovering from a slightly tardy start, just underneath the rear wing of that McLaren ahead of him. Paul Holton, the 76 car. Paul gaining in experience, driving with Matt Plum this weekend for C360R in that McLaren GT4. Paul has been with the C360, formerly Compass Racing, for quite a while and has driven a number of their projects, dialing himself in. 69 is Chris Green, looking at the back of the leader. Jim Buford just not getting away there, about 8 or 9 tenths, but that's nothing. That's a snatched break. It's a missed apex through turn 10. The noticeable difference, Jeremy, between how much the body of the Mustang rolls and the very flat McLarens that are behind them. Now 4 McLarens from second through to fifth as Brynjolfsson has got ahead of Till Bechtelsheimer, who is in 6th position for the first of the Porsches. And that is the C.J. Wilson racing car. That is the number 35, number 33 machine, just got ahead of the 35 similar car. So it's beginning already to settle down nicely, and I'm pleased to see this, Jeremy. What we've not seen is any impetuous driving early on. I know this is only a 2-hour race, but it's a 2-hour race.
Whoa, we've got
Holton
two McLarens
down the inside.
Two McLarens leaning on each other. They're going into Sunset Bend. It's going to be Paul Holton who takes over that second place. He muscled his way down the inside. Forceful move, but perfectly clean.
Yeah, Chris Green deciding discretion the better part of Valor here. Might have lost that battle, but lives to fight on in the war. Not really much point in fighting too hard with just 2 laps of the 2 hours into the book. I'm impressed that the Ford is not getting away here. 76 then, Paul Holton, with that black and blue colour scheme on the McLarens. All the McLarens actually with very distinctive and distinctively different colour schemes on them, not always using the swoosh in the side of the car. Ford looking very tidy indeed, beautifully turned out in its mostly white colour scheme. Meantime in ST, the 84 BMW, another white and black car. Red mirrors for the ST category. James Clear from Mosing by about 3/4 of a second at the line. Oh, huge amount of understeer there from the 84 car. James Clear turning the wheel and the car not wanting to turn as much as the wheels were pointing, and that cost him some pace out onto the straight between 6 and 7, but the Porsches are scrapping among themselves, and Jeff Mosing in the 56 black and orange car went down the inside to 7 to defend his position from the Jones Porsche, the 31 car. Sarah Catania with a watching brief at the moment, but remember that is a front-wheel drive car. What she'll not want to do, Jeremy, is lean on those front tyres too early, because they will. The back tyres, they'll last till a fortnight next Tuesday, because they're not really doing anything except keeping the exhaust off the ground. But the front tyres, she's got to bring them in gently, and remember, those are the tyres she qualified on.
That's exactly right. So she's being cautious, as you say, just hanging in there. Number 73 car is moving up through the pack now, up inside the top 10, I think, just about. As you found a way, yeah, found a way past Aurora Strauss there, the youngster in that number 18, very brightly liveried Porsche Cayman. A couple of notes up further up. The James Clay car in the lead in ST, that's the car that was on the pole position here last year, had 3 poles indeed last year, but wasn't able to transfer any of them into a race win. So that is what is primary on the minds of that BIM World team this year. They want to get back to victory lane. Won lots of races in the past, but not lately. They want to set that record straight.
Great battles as Sarah Catania gets a run on the 31, and the Porsche pulls across into turn 17. That's all right. Devon Jones in the Body Motion Racing Porsche Cayman. That's one of the ST cars, third position at the moment. Just defended his position so that Sarah couldn't get the run down the inside. Second, third and fourth in ST, absolutely as one as they went across the line. That is allowing James Clay to stretch his lead. It's up over a second now, 1.2 seconds, and coincidentally that's exactly the same gap as at the front of the field. 59 car is coming through the field. Jack Rouse Jr. fought his way up to 6th position, just got ahead of Till Bechtelsheimer in the number 33 CJ Wilson racing car. Mark Miller will be watching on from the pit stall. Great run for these ST cars, spreading out just a little bit, but as I said, short race, yes, but longish race. Still 2 hours. That's going to be one pit stop for the STs, probably 2 for the GS. I'm not sure any of the GS cars could do this on just one.
I don't
it's
think
margin,
so.
unless we got a lot of yellow.
And it's a good bit warmer this afternoon. 76 degrees is what we're showing on our weather radar. It's a lot warmer than it was this morning, a lot warmer than it was yesterday as well. So, yeah, that's going to be a factor, I think, as this race goes on.
That's 76 degrees Fahrenheit, of course, before you think
Hey, we're in the US.
Yes, no,
I can't work out the other numbers.
Well, see, I can't understand anything where 0 isn't freezing point. That's what hurts my little brain. I'm a bear of significantly small brain. Leader across the line to complete lap number 3. Still an hour and 50 minutes to go, so we've only had 10 minutes. We've completed 4 laps, excuse me, and the gap is back down to 3/4 of a second at the front of the field, and that is courtesy of the fastest lap of the race by Paul Holton in that number 76 McLaren. 2:13.453, took half a second off the leader, and he's got target acquired. He's broken the toe back to Chris Green in third. Matt Keegan in 4th position in the third of the McLarens. Then Alan Brynjolfsson in the number 7 McLaren. McLaren showing well here, had their problems, the automatic racing car. 1 or 2 of the McLarens had issues on the high backs of Daytona there. Very clever ECUs were not happy at being tipped over at 30 degrees and decided to tell other systems that wasn't the normal operating mode. Well, I'm sure it's not normally for a McLaren. Those teething troubles have been attended, and now we are seeing a really strong run here by Paul Holton, who is gradually just bringing that leader back into his grasp.
Yeah,
where has the 59 car gone? The 59 car has dropped.
No, it's up. It's moving up into the 6th position.
Excuse me. Yep. Yes, Jack Rouse Jr. Yeah, still ahead of Till Bechtelshire. Excuse me, I missed it for a moment.
Just looking at the relative weights of the car, the Mustang has been put on quite a bit of weight since the first round of the season at Daytona. The McLaren has taken off some weight, and now the relative weights of these cars, the Ford is 45 kilos heavier than the McLaren. So, and if you look at the cars on our screen here coming down the Alec Ullman straight, you can see the frontal area of that Mustang is huge compared to the McLaren. So it's going to be interesting to see how the aerodynamics and the weight of these cars affects the tyre performance in the later stages.
Yeah, that is a very good point. There is a real skill to endurance racing, always has been, but nowadays with the increased reliability of the cars, it's far more a sprint than it ever was, a sprint between pit stops. But that doesn't mean that you haven't got to keep the car underneath you. Pointless driving completely flat out for 10 or 15 minutes of what might be a 45 or 50 minute stint, and then finding you're losing 3 or 4 seconds a lap because you completely routed the tyres in those super duper laps where you set lap record after lap record after lap record. James Clay at the moment is doing a very good job of controlling the gap back to Jeff Mosing, 84 BMW from 56 Porsche, then the body motion car, the 31 in 3rd position, then Sarah Cattaneo. Not trying anything at the moment there, the pole sitter, but they know how to win this race. They visited victory lane here last year. Leaders through, 0.8 of a second. Spin for the 34 Mazda. That's the Murillo Racing machine, and that was started by Chris Stone, and he's just dropped a position or two, but no harm, no foul. Car was absolutely unmarked as he got back onto the circuit.
Yep, that battle continues at the front there. Nothing to choose between Jade Buford in that Ford Mustang and Paul Holton in the McLaren car number 76 for C360R, and they're kind of trading times here on that sector 1. Purple for Jade Buford. That's the fastest time for anybody in this race so far, as we see the number 34 car onto pit lane. The Murillo Racing team runs 3 cars here this week. The 2 Porsche Caymans, the 56 and the 65, and also that number 34 Mazda MX-5 that is on pit lane. 2 leaders again trading times through the second sector. Nothing to choose between them. They're just 1/10 of a second here and there. They're coming across the line, still nose to tail as they complete lap 6.
34 car has come into the pits. They are changing the left front tire only tire change on that car, and he'll be right back out on the racetrack.
Thank you, Jim. Well, that's going to put them off kilter. Brim fillet and hope for something to happen. Now, 59 car taking another position. Alan Brynjolfsson in the very bright fluorescent lemon and grey has just gone down a position. A little bit of a hanging trim on the back of that McLaren. Don't know whether that was rattled off or nerfed off, but that's Jack Rouse Jr. back now up to 4th position, having started at the back. Back to Jim Roller.
Well, this has been a bit of a calamity. When he came in, I think the crew was totally surprised because they only had 1 gun and 1 tire. They have now found another gun and have changed both front tires. They found enough tires, so they're now going to change the rear tires as well. So 4 tire change all the way around, and good thing, because the rear tires on this car are unbelievably flat spotted. He wouldn't have been able to drive this thing if they hadn't changed all 4.
Thank you, James. Jim Roller and Shea Adam in the pits for us here. Now, the lead from being almost 2 seconds is down to, well, not even a car's length, as Paul Holton has gently but inexorably dragged himself back towards Jade Buford. Now, Jade's times have been pretty good. In fact, Jade's last lap was his best lap of the race, but it was barely a 10th quicker than Paul Holton's. They've pulled out almost 4 seconds on Chris Green and now Jack Rouse Jr. in 4th position. So, right, we've lost Matt Keegan. He's dropped down the pack in the 77 car. Yes, he has. He's dropped down to 6th position.
He's lost.
Brynjolfsson's gone through into 5th.
Correct. Brynjolfsson got past Keegan a couple of laps ago, and on this last lap, Jack Rouse Jr. found a way past Keegan as well, and now, as you say, Rouse has moved his way past Brynjolfsson as well. And Alan Brynjolfsson from Iceland originally lives now in Florida. He's first time in pro racing this season. That's a fine effort by him. He really is doing a good job. And Matt Keegan doesn't have much experience either, in actual fact, in that C360R car number 77, running in an excellent 6th place.
In ST, James Clay continues to hold sway there with a 2nd lead back to Mosing Jones in Catania, with Chad McCumbee only a 2nd further back in 5th position for the first of the Mazdas. Then it's Robbie Foley in the 27 car, Nick Gallant in the 17, and a spin for the number 3 Aston Martin, and that is the car that had the new right front wing. Craig Lyons, the Newport Beach, California driver in the TMG car, just looping that at turn 17, but no difficulty getting it pointed in the right direction, although whilst he was wheeling his hands around trying to keep that car pointing in the right direction, he's knocked his left traffic indicator on. Now, steady on down, son. Don't try and make it all back into corners. You'll only make things worse, and your tyres will be dirty, and you will have given yourself a shock. The leaders are already at turn number 12 and heading off towards the Jean de Bienne bends. Far side of the racetrack, really quick. You have to be committed through here, have a car that's working, and popping out onto the back straight, trying to take us the last 1/10 of a mile an hour. Through goes the ST leaders through turn 1. Just a little drop of the right-hand Continental rear tyre for the leader, James Clear, who's beginning to be reeled back in again. Fastest laps that time around for Mosing, Jones and Catania, and Clear, in fact, that time around. Very, very tight indeed. 24.8, 24.9, 24.9, and Sarah Catania, the fastest of that quartet, with a 24.7. And seeing Chris just drop that car, Craig Lyons rather, just dropped that car at 17, just got the wrong side of the bump there as he was under pressure.
Yeah, you can see the car begin to oscillate under braking, one side then the other. A little bit of tank slapper on under the brakes there, finally looped it around, but barely made contact with the tyre wall.
I'm sure he did, Jeremy. I think locking it up just managed to keep it away. Now what the problem will be, of course, is if he flat spotted the tyres. GT4 Aston Martin, and he dropped behind the 38 Porsche, driven by James Cox. And another spin for a Mazda. This time it's again the 34 car. Big dent in the right rear this time. And that 34 car has been around now a couple of times. And that's Chris Stone. And he comes straight into the pit lane, right ahead of one of the Caymans, who's also coming in behind him. Now there is damage to the right rear of the Mazda.
Kind 12, I think it is. That's Cameron Castles.
It is Cameron Castles.
The Daytona winner, also onto pit lane.
Let's go down to our pit lane reporters as the lead battle continues to rage on through turn 10. We'll watch that as we go first of all to Jim Roller.
Well, the 12 car has come in. Fuel only. They're taking this opportunity. Maybe Jeremy was right when you guys were talking about them not being able to make it on just one stop. So do this stop early and then hope for a caution or something like that to make the second stop.
Big damage to the back of the number 34. The right rear bumper completely pushed forward, and it's not actually touching the tire, which is the good news for the mechanics, but they're now having to rip away this orange bumper to the effect of about 2 feet into the car. It's actually pushed in enough that it has cracked the shell of the bumper. It's not even just cosmetic at this point. Trying to go around Sebring with the damage like that would be a handful, but they're sending him back out. They can't move the bumpers, so they're sending him back out.
Thank you, Shea. There is damage on the left front of Aston Martin number 99, and I'm not a detective, but I just wonder if that's where the contact has been. Coming down into turn 17, 3 wide, the Aston Martin, has absolutely nailed the 34 car. And that 99, Rob Eklund Jr. and Al Carter car has caused that accident. That will be being reviewed, even if we speak. It was Rob Eklund Jr. who started the car. Back to Jim Roller.
Trent Hinman, was that a stop so you could back time when your next stop is and maybe catch a caution?
Yeah, it's tough to say. I mean, for us and the Porsche Cayman GT4, unfortunately, we can't quite make an hour. And the way things have been going out on the racetrack right now, it seems like people are comfortably in their rhythm. And nobody's really making too many mistakes. So for us to bank on a caution with our strategy would just be incorrect. So we're going a little bit out of the box here. We're going to give it a shot, see if it works or not. We really don't have much to lose. So, I mean, Body Motion guys, I trust everything that they do here for us. I trust everything that Cameron's doing for us out on the racetrack, and this is a group decision, so we'll see how it works out for us.
All right, well, good luck with that. So what they'll do, John, is they've made this first stop. So as soon as they get to the point in the race where they know they can make it all the way, that'll open the window. And then they can wait until the very last moment to make that stop. It'll be a shorter stop because they'll have to take on less fuel, and they may be able to catch a caution.
Hate to disagree with you, Jim. You're close, but in fact what's happened here, that because this is such a long racetrack, you can come in from where they were, make their pit stop, get out again without losing a lap. Now, if there is a full course caution before the first round of pit stops, or around about 45 minutes or shortly thereafter, then they will pack up with everybody else. The car will need less fuel, and then they can make. They're still going to have to make two more stops during this race, most likely. But it just opens up the window a little bit for them. The trick now is that Cameron has to make sure, if there is a full course caution, he doesn't get caught up with it and he doesn't get lapped by the overall race leaders.
Mini 37 slow on the front straight past us, and that car, wearing the most famous of Mini numbers, has come to a halt, and it is just beyond the Sebring Bridge, driver's right, heading into turn 1. He's rocking the wheels left and right. Not sure what he's trying to achieve with that. It's Mike Lamara behind the wheel. Oh, he's got it going again. Whatever it was, he's got it going again. Was he worried about a loose wheel or something with the brakes maybe? Looking underneath to see if anything's hanging off it. No, that looks okay. And it's heading away again.
There's a problem. Brake problem, is it?
I wonder if he's got a stuck brake caliper, and it's sticking on front brake, and that's why he was wiggling backwards and forwards, trying to get rid of a sticky front caliper. Just going back to that stop for the body motion car, the Cameron Castles car, the number 12. I think both of you are right. I think it does open up the window for strategic purposes in terms of how far Cameron has to go. He's got to do 45 minutes, and
yeah, he'll be out at 45 minutes. They will make their next pit stop at 45 minutes.
Well, now he doesn't have to, Jeremy. The car can't do an hour, so he can actually go over the hour mark if he needs to.
Yes, but he's not quick enough, quite frankly. They want to get Trent Hinman in the car as quick as they can because he is significantly faster. Cameron doesn't have much experience at all. He's a super enthusiast. He's getting better, and he's getting as much driving time as he can. But he's not anywhere near Trent's pace yet in his career. So this is a great strategy by that team. You know, it might backfire, but it's worth a try because otherwise they're not going to win the race.
So they're going to do an extra pit stop that they don't need. I don't understand why they would come in early.
No, they're going to make 3 pit stops in any case.
Okay.
Oh, right, okay, yeah, yes, they are effectively. So,
Yeah.
so they're hoping for a full course caution, yes.
Yeah, but they're hoping it's going to be just after 4. Well, let's see. They're hoping that something could. I mean, if it comes at 45 minutes, they've lost nothing because everybody comes in. But they've got a wee bit more fuel. They'll get Trent turned around quicker, but they'll still have to stop again.
Correct.
The car cannot do the full hour. If they now went from where that car stopped to when it runs out of fuel, they could put Trent in and run him to the end. It wouldn't need another stop. But then again,
and that's why he said, we're going out a bit on a limb here.
I like it, Jeremy.
Yes.
You know, it's what we
box.
said. It's what we said. If you do the same as everyone else, you're going to get the same result. I've got to tell you, that Mini is still not happy with Mike Lamara and the JCW Mini team. And he's still waggling that car around. No change at the front. In fact, the only change at the front is that Paul Holton's pace has dropped away a little bit, and now he's dropped to 3 seconds behind Jade Buford.
I think he got held up by a bit of traffic on that last lap is what happened for Paul Holton, so he has lost a bit of ground. He's going to try and make it up again.
Meantime, in ST, James Clay has been closed down by Jeff Mosing to under a second.
Yeah, we've got 4 cars there pretty much nose to tail in that battle for the lead, and then not far behind them is Chad McCumbee in that number 25 Freedom Autosport Mazda as well.
The problem that Sarah Catania has got is that Cameron Castles is just working his way back through that gaggle of cars, that quartet at the front of the ST field. So Cameron Castles, having made his pit stop, albeit an early pit stop, topped the number 12 body motion Porsche Cayman. This is a GS car, the white car with the black stripes going down driver's right.
It's its sister car, the black, blue and yellow.
Trying to get a bit of a tour down the Ullman Straight from the more powerful car. Didn't really work there, to be honest. And the 59 car is off the circuit at Le Mans Bend, which is at the final right-hander before coming on to the Ullman Straight. And the 59 Core Motorsports, that is the car that has been firing itself up the field by Jack Rouse Jr. in 4th at the moment. I think has held on to that because he had a 5-second cushion back to Alan Brynjolfsson in the number 7 McLaren. Here the engine note rising and falling as the back wheels pop off the ground on that Ford Mustang GT4. He's got cars ahead of him in sight. There will not be a pass for position. Liam Dwyer is right on the tail of the BMW of Ari Bolov, and they are battling for 10th and 11th in ST. Liam Dwyer dutifully gives room to the car putting a lap on him. By that Mazda's nimble through 3, 4 and 5, lost absolutely nothing. In fact, Liam had to lift off for a moment there. He was taking more speed through the centre of 4. And that is another danger area that has been negotiated by Jack Rouse Jr. He will have passed those cars before. He just got by them and then slightly overdid his speed entry to the final right-hander before the Ullman back straight.
Jim Cox and Chuck Quinton, they're absolutely, completely side by side across the start finish line, heading towards turn 1's number 99 Aston makes his way onto pit lane.
And I would expect this to be a drive-through or a stop and hold for Rob Eklund Jr. And it is a drive-through for contact on the Chris Stone 34 Murillo Racing Mazda. Oh, and there's a Porsche off at turn 1. It's one of the white Porsche Caymans, and there's damage to the front. It's the 21 car.
That was the one. That's Chuck Quinton, the guy I was just talking about. They were side by side towards turn 1.
Yeah, this is the GS21 car. Chuck Quinton was having a great battle in the Mühlner Motorsports America machine. It's
yeah, with Jim Cox there, number 38 BGB car. Two similar cars.
Yeah, Cameron Lawrence, the other driver in the 21 car. But that car is done for the day. Now the question is, do they feel as though it's in a safe place? And that was on his own. He just drifted wide and hit the exit, broke the steering, tried to get the car back on the track, but realised that was a folly. Managed to miss the Mobile 1 sign though. Has done a pretty good job to get it onto some hard standing, and yeah, into a gap there. I think that it's not far away from being fine. Blue flags, and he's realised that. This is really heads-up driving. He will be able to get some steering on this when he reverses it, because the wheels will follow where he's going. They'll centre up. And with a little bit of shimmying, I think he'll get that car behind the concrete wall there. There is a cutout there. That's really good driving. Yeah, and it's gentlemanly driving and sportsmanlike driving, Jeremy.
It's a shame, however, for the number 12 team, because Cameron Castle is about to be lapped by our race leader.
Right.
And if he could have stayed on the lead lap, then that strategy would have been gold. If this had brought out a full course caution, that would have been fantastic news for that body motion team and Cameron Castles and Trent Hinman. But he's going to go a lap down now, and now he hopes there isn't a caution until everybody else has made their pit stop.
Correct. So the strategy, I'll tell you what, 29 minutes in, I'm not sure whether the GS cars would have stopped, because anyone who hasn't, they haven't done their drive time, have they? I suppose if you've got your hot shoe in, doesn't matter. Leave him in there. Now, the battle at the head of the ST field has James Clear all of a sudden 3.5 seconds clear, having been just 6/10 the last time I looked. Mosing Jones and Sarah Catania now looking to pick up the pace in the Nissan Altima. Car absolutely slammed at the rear. Those rear Continentals almost hidden by the rear guards. Typical front-wheel drive stance with the car hunkered down. The back end just being dragged around by the front wheels that are steering and driving. Very potent combination. Sarah Catania, Owen Trinkler, the Honda at the start of last year and the Nissan at the end. The Ultima co-opted into that team after some pretty serious testing of the machinery. They've had one or two niggly little problems with that car, but when it has gone very well indeed. James Clay has pulled out pretty much the gap between turn 1 and turn 2 between himself and the chasing pack, and he has now got the clear advantage. That means that he's still getting terrible understeer out of turn 3 into 4 and 5, but he does have the ability now to follow the optimum racing line, and he's very smooth driver, is James, and he'll be relishing this being out in the front. He's got to forget about what's going on behind. Mosing and Jones with Catania in close attendance at turn 7. They're slowing themselves up now, and Jeff Mosing just spinning up the rear Continentals on that 56 ST Cayman, getting himself sideways. Is that the opportunity? Up to turn 10, heavy braking area. Devon Jones will hand over to Drake Kemper, that body motion racing car. Yeah, he's looking like he smells blood in the water now. Just watching the back end of that bright, oh yes, a big turn-in, oversteer moment, the back end getting away from Jeff Mosing, and here comes the 59 car to put a lap on them. Sarah Catania has seen Jack Rouse Jr., but these two guys are battling for second position. The back end of the orange and black car moving around significantly now, and that's exactly what Devon Jones wants to see in the blue Cayman sitting in behind. He's got a much better run out of the Le Mans right-hander onto the back straight. Wise beyond his years, Jack Rouse Jr. gives them a very wide berth there, just to make sure the 31 car didn't pull out when he didn't want to. Now, will Jones have a look into 17? He's not quite close enough. My, that Murillo Racing car is quick in a straight line. But he can't hold the tighter line. And perhaps just squaring off the corner here at turn 17 will give the advantage back to Devon Jones. He's right in the wheel tracks of the orange and black cars. They head towards turn 1. James Clear leads. Then the battle for second position is between the two Porsches. Sarah Catania just dropped away for a moment. Had to lift off and lose a little momentum as Jack Rouse Jr. went through in the 59 car. That is 4th overall. 3rd, Chris Green in the number 69 McLaren. He's about a second behind second place, which is still Paul Holton, who is 4.5 seconds behind Jay Buford, who leads in the number 60 Ford. And we have an hour and 26 minutes to run. Not yet halfway, nowhere near halfway through this race, but getting close in the next 15 minutes or so to the GS cars thinking about pit stops.
Yeah,
45 minutes. Yeah.
Yep, 10 minutes to go till those pit stops will begin.
Just checking the two CJ Wilson racing cars, 7th and 8th at the moment. Russell Ward doing a cracking job. His lap time's very good indeed, just 3 seconds or so, a little bit less than that behind his teammate. I'm sorry, I'm reading that wrong. He's a little bit further back than that, but he'll hand over to Damien Faulkner. Till Bechtolsheimer will hand over to Mark Miller. Damien Faulkner, an Irishman on St Patrick's Day. What can he do? He's won before on the 17th of March.
Russell Ward's actually set a faster time than Till, so that's an excellent effort in that car, number 35.
Number 3, Aston Martin for Craig Lyons. The TRG, excuse me, Aston Martin Racing North America. Blue Aston, showing signs of battle damage with a pure white right front fender. Right back into the wheel arch section, but beautifully fitted. The panel gap's perfect on that. New headlight as well.
The overall race leader, Jade Buford, now just put a lap also on Ted Giovannis in car number 4. Why is that significant? Because Ted Giovannis will hand over that car to Guy Cosmo, who is super fast. Whoa, youch, as Greg Lyons.
Wow, that's
what you call a tank slapper.
That is a save and a half. 1, 2, 3, and breathe. My goodness, the car showing evidence of earlier rubbing on the left rear guard. But that was a save and a half. Just took far too much speed through the S's, and he's maybe in tyre trouble at the back of that car. Could have leaned on that car a bit too hard and attacking the turning a little too sharply. Now Sarah Catania has got the hurry up now because Chad McCumbee is looming large in the mirrors. 5-6 seconds behind. 77, Matt Keegan is about to come through that gaggle of cars. Matt in the dark McLaren with the pinky orange highlights. Sarah just thinking of having a look down the inside there. Team car is Alan Brynjolfsson in 5th position. That one you can't miss. For number 7 with the bright orange. Oh, and the 59 car, the Roush car is off. The Core Motorsports machine that has been charging through is off and dead. Was 4th position, off to the right-hand side of the road on the run up to Tower Turn. Oh dear. That sounds very bad indeed. Engine turned off. And, well, Jack Rouse Journey staying in the car for the moment, but it has no forward drive. I thought it sounded like the gearbox wasn't engaging. Everything fine coming out of turn 7. The S's. Through 8 to turn 9, and he just goes straight on in turn 9 onto the grass. He's driven that car off. I think he snatched a gear there, Jeremy, and found there were none. Well, we're hearing lost the battery. Right. The alternator can't power the car, presumably. Shea Adam is down in the pit lane at the Core Motorsports pit. What's the problem?
Well, full course caution just came out because he reported back to the team that he was losing steering and brakes, pulled it off, then went to get it restarted, couldn't get it restarted, has no battery power left, as one of the McLarens made it into the pit lane, I believe, before the pit lane closed lights came on.
Car, Shea.
That is the number 7, that is Volt Racing. So that's Alan still behind the wheel. He's driving straight through, I believe, his pit box. Yep. He's gone straight through the pit lane, so very heads up. Clearly came in when the lights had already come on and the team just waved him through. But yeah, full course caution out now, John.
And with 40 minutes down, this is a killer for anybody. Well, maybe not, because by the time the pits are open, you'll have had your 45 minutes, and certainly by the time the car comes out of the pit lane again, it will be 45 minutes. So this is a no-brainer for everybody in GS, certainly, isn't it?
Well, not yet. No, we need another 4.5 minutes yet before they can come in. They're going to be.
But by the time the safety cars pick them up, they've come in.
It'll be close. It'll be close. They might be okay. Certainly, the ST cars will probably be okay because they'll be doing an extra lap. On the when the pits are the pits are closed now. They will open the pits once everybody is packed up behind the safety car. That takes a little while. Then on the first lap after that, the pits will be open for any GS cars that want to pit, and then the lap after that for any ST cars that want to pit. So we'll have to see how that timing works out. Unfortunately for Alan Brynjolfsson there, don't know why he came onto pit lane, but it was too early for him to make the driver change, so really not much to be gained if he had come onto pit lane, even if he'd made it before the pits were closed.
Chris Green talking on the radio. We can actually hear him on the onboard camera. Jesse Lazare will be getting ready to take over the number 69, the Motorsport in Action McLaren GT4. The two Montreal natives. Well, through across the start-finish line then. So 18 green flag laps, 17.5 if you will. Fastest lap of the race on lap 4 to Paul Holton. And I reckon that Chris Lyons is the man who breathes a sigh of relief in the number 3 Aston, because I think he just stayed on the lead lap.
He was a fair way ahead of, he wasn't really yet in danger of going a lap down, but yes, he will be the last car on the lead lap in the 12th position, 11th position now, I think. Oh no, probably 12th, depending on where Brynjolfsson rejoined the pack after that mock pit stop.
Yeah, he won't get a penalty for that, Jeremy, because he's penalised himself. If he'd stopped at his pit lane, he would have got a penalty. Now, Rouse Jr., I think, trying to bump start the car behind the safety team. The car is on a flat toe. And full course yellow for the first time. And the pits will be opened, I'm sure, next time around. So the 59 car coming back behind the tow vehicle, and behind that the Cayenne GTS, which is the one of two GTS we have now as the intervention vehicles. So forget the gaps now, Jeremy, because it's all closing back up again.
Yes, it is, and that is we're watching the Mustang being towed off the racetrack by the safety truck. So the order then will be Jade Buford still leads this race as he has done from the drop of the green flag in the number 60 Core Motorsport Ford Mustang GT4. 3 McLarens behind him. Car number 76 is Paul Holton. Car number 69 is Chris Green. Car number 77 is Matthew Keegan. Then the best of the Porsches is Till Bechtolsheimer in car number 33, followed by his teammate Russell Ward in car number 35. Then another Porsche, Dylan Murcott in car number 28. That's the car that started at the back, one of the cars that started from the back of the pack in GS after not setting a time in qualifying. Alan Brynjolfsson in car number 7, the McLaren, having made that drive through as the caution came out. He has rejoined in the 8th position ahead of Rod Randall in the McLaren car number 68. Then Jim Cox, the BGB car number 38, that is another Porsche Cayman. Then the Aston Martins of Rob Ecklin Jr. car number 99 and Craig Lyons in car number 3. And then one lap down to the race leaders are both Ted Giovannis in car number 4 and the car number 12 of Cameron Castles, both of those two Porsche Caymans. Then are the ST leaders, and they are all in a row there. So we won't need at least a wave around to reset the field before the pits are open, John.
Yeah, and that's James Clay BMW, who's lost a 4-second lead. Jeff Mosing, 56 Porsche. Devin Jones in the 31 Body Motion Porsche. Then Sarah Cattaneo, Chad McCumbee in the 25 Mazda. Robbie Foley in the 27 Mazda. 17 Porsche, Dick Gallant in 7th position. Derek Jones in the 73 Mini. Aurora Strauss in the 18 Porsche, and making up the top 10, the 81 BMW Ariballo. And we have now got a look down in front of me because we have handily placed one of the pit open or closed signals right in front of us. It's open. Any takers? No.
Yeah, we haven't quite reached. We're just reaching now. Yeah.
It's now. Do you know what? If you're at the end of that queue, yeah, get in.
You're okay.
Get in.
I think you're okay, but only at the end of the queue. That's a tremendously good fortune for Till Bechtolsheimer. I believe he's going to be okay.
Yeah, CJ Wilson, 33 minutes. And 35 cars in, and Alan Brynjolfsson. Now, isn't that amazing? Alan Brynjolfsson comes in at the wrong time, and it's paid off for him because he lost track position. So the two CJ Wilson racing cars, what a great opportunity here, just at the 45-minute point. The guys at the head of the field are going to be steaming about this. Big puff of smoke from one of the Aston Martins. I think that's a dragging tyre. The 99 car, I think, has lost the left front wheel. Oh, no, it's out of the exhaust. Oh, my goodness me. And it's gone straight into its pit stall, but that looks very bad indeed. Shea, Adam.
It looks really bad, but they are still doing a driver change, and Al Carter is getting in a quick sniff of that exhaust. It smells like really, really rich fuel, actually, and maybe a little bit of oil mixed in there, too. But Al Carter getting behind the wheel of that injured car. The other Aston Martin, the number 3, has also come in. Fuel and tires for that one as well, and fuel and tires for that very, very bright McLaren that we saw.
33, Till Bechtolsheimer's car is down and away. That'll be Mark Miller behind the wheel of that car. That was smart pit work by CJ Wilson Racing Team. Russell Ward will hand the 35 over to Irishman Damien Faulkner. That car down and running as well, waiting for Adam Brynjolfsson in the...
It's a long stop.
That is a very, very long stop in that number 7 car. Chris Hall has already been installed.
Actually, he's a long way down the pit lane. That's
oh, do you know what? You're right, Jeremy. That was a good stop, because he is now rolling right in behind Damien Faulkner.
Yeah, he's come out behind number 38 car. He came into the pits ahead of it, so he's lost a little bit of ground, but not too much. But the odd thing for me, that both the number 28 and the number 68 cars missed an opportunity to pit, because they were behind both of the CJ Wilson Racing cars and did not pit. So they now were going to complete one more lap before they bring their cars onto pit lane. Next time around, we'll see a flurry of pit stops in ST.
James Bond used to drive an Aston Martin share, and at the moment we've got a bit of a Q-like smokescreen behind the 99.
Very good, John. Yeah, the 99, they had it fire back up, and the pit lane officials had them shut it off, said, no, you are not taking this car out of pit lane. 3 of the IMSA officials are examining the car right now. A big plume of smoke as they turned it on again, and still nothing. The mechanics are actually working in the front of the car. They're trying to figure something out, but unless they can get it done too quickly, they're going to be behind all of the ST contenders coming in, and they are pitted not very far away from all 3 of the Freedom Autosports Mazda Miatas. So unless they're out of the pit lane within about the next 30 seconds, I'd say that end is going to be very busy.
Well, the other thing is the guys who have just pitted and come out will be absolutely hammering round to try and get on the back of the field so that they do get their positions. Don't forget that there's no speed limit on the circuit. It's not like a code 60 or a virtual safety car. You can get back round. So the pits open this time for ST cars. I'm not sure there'll be that many takers. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, there'll be quite a few takers in here for sure.
The GS cars have stayed out. They've rolled it out. They have to now. Yeah, they have to now. They've stayed out with an hour and 11 minutes to go. They are going to push, and they will either hope for another yellow or to do some kind of green flag stop. Let's head down to Shea Adam.
James Clay's work is done for the afternoon. Tyler Cook has already run around the side of the number 84, so he will be getting into that. The number 56 Murillo Racing Porsche also into the pit lane. Jeff Mosing is finally done with his driving responsibilities for the weekend. He's out, Eric Voss is in. All 3 of the Freedom Autosports Mazdas are in, the 25, the 26, and the 27. Driver changes for all 3 of those, and driver changes for all 3 of the minis. Jim?
The 44 has come in. Sarah Catania's gotten out. That's Owen Trinkler here, heading back down the pit road. The 18 is in. Aurora Strauss is getting in that car, but they're having problems with the jacks in the back. So they're having, this is going to be a protracted stop for the 18 car. Now they've got the car up, and problems for the 12 car, John.
Certainly are, Jim. The right front tyre was not fastened on properly to that number 12 car. And it is moving around under the wheel arch and throwing out bits of rubber. Now,
not 12. 12 still out on the racetrack, hasn't pitted yet.
It was. I'm pretty certain that was the 12 car that was having the problem. He's out on the racetrack. Sorry, I didn't make that clear. I didn't say it was in the pit lane. It was running around. And it's flapping around there. Meanwhile, back down in the pits with the ST runners.
With the Mini team, the 73 did their driver change well. They did the tire change, and then they did the driver change. But the problem after everything was all said and done was that the car didn't start moving again. There was a lineup of Minis waiting to go because the 52 had had the service completed, but because the Daytona winning car was not moving, it couldn't leave the pit lane. Both of those were slow out. Meanwhile, the 37, the car that actually stopped out on track with Mike Lamara behind the wheel, is just now starting their pit stop because they only have 1 fuel hose. So James Vance had to wait on the wall excruciatingly long time before he could get out. Now they're fueling that car, and Mike Lamar slams the door in a bout of anger.
The 84 car very slow off pit lane as well there. That was the car that came in the lead, and I think that Tyler Cook in that car is going to be down in the teens. So this is a huge shake-up in ST. Eric Voss scored as the leader off pit lane from Owen Trinkler in second in the 44 Nissan. So 56 Porsche from Nissan 44. And yeah, it was definitely the 12 car, and it was definitely the right front that was the problem. And that is now a flat right front tyre on that car. So maybe it was just the tyre deflated and moving around and not a wheel loose, but certainly a problem with the right front on that car that I caught a few moments ago.
Well, I think he should be able to pit, I think, this time around, because anybody can pit now, I believe, before we get the pits. Everything cycled up again behind the safety car before we get ready to go back to green. So that's pretty fortunate there for number 12 car, but not really, because if he could have stayed out a little bit longer, when the race leaders make their pit stop, then you could get back on the lead lap and come on around. That's what number 4 car will do. It won't come in with the other leaders. So that's actually unfortunate for car number 12.
Still an hour and 7 minutes to go.
But he's going to be still remaining a lap down, and that's the key. That's the killer.
Now, have the other GS cars come in? Yes, Jed Buford comes into the pit lane.
And you see the number 4 car stays out because he's now back on the lead lap.
Correct,
Before we go back to the green, he will get the wave around from the safety car, and he'll be able to hustle around and try and make up that lap. He'll be back on the lead lap, but a long way back.
Down to Shea Adam with the leader.
Number 60 hits its marks, and Scott Maxwell jumps off of the pit wall. A few pit boxes behind them. We also have the number 77 getting into its pit box. Number 76 makes it in first. Now the 76 is coming to a stop. The tire change on the left-hand side of the Mustang, though, nearly complete. Jim, what's at your end?
Well, Jesse Lazar is going to get in the 69. Those two Quebec drivers are swapping positions. It was a tough break because they would have liked to have come in earlier. As far as the saga of the 12 car, he's come in, and it was, in fact, a flat right front tire. The hub seems to be fine, and they're putting another right front tire on the car now. Shay?
The tires are done on the 60. Fuel's still going in. Scott Maxwell ready to go, but he does have traffic in front of him. The number 3 TRG Aston Martin came into its pit box and is about 15 feet in front of the Mustang, so it's going to be a tight exit for Maxwell. Fuel probe comes out. Car has not been lowered down off the jacks yet, though. They need to tighten the lug nuts on the left-hand side. Now they're done, costing them a lot of time. Maxwell revving the engine. Can't get it in gear.
I sent the 12 car back out, and I think, yeah, they sent him back out with the same tire. So in fact, there was a problem with the hub, I believe. He's going slowly down the pit lane now, John.
Must be going behind the wall, I think, Jim. He's not in the acceleration lane. I did see the 60 car of Scott Maxwell very sideways, Shea. Looked like that was not a perfect pit stop.
It was anything but. And for Scott Maxwell, who is a perfectionist, that is how he has won championships in this league. Yes, as the 12 goes behind the wall, that is the last thing that he wanted. He actually was so anxious standing on the pit wall about the timing for when they could come in, if they could make it on that initial one. He was running up and down the pit wall to tell people, no, we can't come in. Yes, we can. Maybe we can do this. No, as both McLarens now go back out as well. Scott Maxwell's going to be really fired up.
We'll get some driver interviews in just a moment. Let me give you the standings. Remember, the leaders did not dive into the pit lane. They didn't think they were on time. I would have crawled up to that line. They were very, very close. Mark Miller leads after the pit stop cycle in GS and ST for CJ Wilson Racing. Damien Faulkner, his teammate in the 35 Porsche, is in second place, 33-35, and in third place, the number 38 BGB Motorsports Porsche Cayman. That's the GT4MR, the Manthey Racing car, developed car. John Tecchi at the wheel of that from Daytona, TC, excuse me, from the Daytona Beach, Florida. Down to Cameron Castles with Jim Roller.
Cameron, what happened?
I just had a right front tire going down for a while and finally just let go.
Was there a problem? Did it do damage to the hub? Is that why they had to put that tire back on?
Yeah, I think we got some wheel studs we've got to replace. Pretty unfortunate. We had a great car today. Fantastic strategy by the Body Motion guys. You know, I think we really had something for the guys here in the end. Really unfortunate.
All right, well, better luck next time.
You hear the disappointment in Cameron Castle's voice there. Safety car at the head of the field. The Corvette is still with its lights on. Eric Foss, Owen Trinkler, Drake Kemba are getting the wave by now. I know they're going under 17 now, excuse me. So that's a change there as well, with Owen Trinkler going up the field. That was not a good pit stop by the 84 team. Tyler Cook will be fuming. Confirmed now in 13th position. Great stop from the 44 crew, and Owen Trinkler has been able to take advantage. 60 coming through. That is getting away by Scott Maxwell, because they will reset the GS cars ahead of the STs, presumably. Well, well, well. On such things, so do races, are races won and lost, Jeremy? Literally seconds there.
Yeah, absolutely right. Really bad luck there, although a couple of those guys elected not to come in when some others did, so that's kind of self-inflicted. That would be the number 28 car and the 68. But the number 4 car then has just got the wave around. He's now, Chet Giovannis is hustling around, and he will go as fast as he possibly can on this under the safety car, get back into the pit lane, hand over to Guy Cosmo, and the hope is that they'll be able to get that service completed and Guy Cosmo back in into the fray before the leaders come around. In which case he'll be back on the lead lap to stay, but it's a tall order. It's not very easy for them to do that at all. What they might well do is just get that driver change done, get as much fuel in as they possibly can, as quickly as they can, send him out, and then they'll have to take on more fuel at the next stop. But the trick is to try to stay on this lead lap. They've now got it back. The question is, for how long?
Yeah, good point. Very good point. Jeremy Shaw, John Hindhoff in the booth. Hello there. It's Shea and Jim. Shea Adam and Jim Roller as our Continental Tire pit lane reporters.
So pit stop also then for the number 76 car, certainly relative to the 69 at least, and the 68, because it's lost quite a lot of ground.
We must find out what happened to the 84 car.
Yeah,
because that was disastrous. That wasn't just poor, that was disastrous.
Yeah, and also the 76, which was running in second place and is now half a dozen places behind the number 60 car with which it had been battling.
Shea Adam has news on the McLaren number 76.
When it came into the pit lane, the air jack did not put the car up on a good angle, and the most that they were able to get it had the left side higher than the right, so I think the tire change was a bit more difficult to get the right side tires on and off, just because the angle the car was on.
Number 7 McLaren still listed with Chris Green at the wheel. That can't be right, presumably. Right, I'm confused. I'm sorry, I've confused myself now. 69 McLaren, 7th place car. Still listed with Chris Green behind the wheel. There was a couple of McLarens didn't do so well there in that pit stop cycle. Still not sure why the BMW had the issue. We'll get back to that in a wee moment or so. 1 hour to go. I think one more pit stop unless we get a very long caution. The guys are cleaning their tyres. I think the lights are out on the safety car, and that is indeed confirmed by looking back at it as it comes down towards turn 17. The white Corvette, resplendent in its Visit Sebring 120 livery, heads away, and the field is under the control of Mark Miller, with Damien Faulkner, his teammate, in behind him. The 3 Porsches actually at the head of the field, with the 38 car of BGB Motorsports, and then Alan Brynjolfsson has handed over to Chris Hall in that bright lemon fluorescent yellow, exactly the colours of the strips I need on my motorcycle to make sure that I don't get run over by lorries. That is. Green flag is in the air, 59 minutes and 20 seconds as they cross the line, and we're racing again here at Sebring for the second round of the Continental Tire SportsCar Challenge. And immediately Scott Maxwell tries to make up positions. He was reset just to the back of the GS field, of course, and he's already up into 4th position. Got ahead of the Porsche number 38, which has dropped backwards, I'm afraid, down the standings. It's the 2 CJ Wilson Racing Porsches from the 7 Volt Racing McLaren, then Scott Maxwell, and Maxwell already trying to hunt the cars down ahead of him. And here comes a challenge on Damien Faulkner. It's a very ambitious move down the inside by the McLaren, and the experienced Irishman having absolutely none of that into turn 7. Just didn't slam the door, but gently closed it, and that's meant that Chris Hall had to back out of that. That's given Scott Maxwell an opportunity. Gets up alongside, going through turn number 9, but can't make it into turn 10, but down the inside, side by side through turn 10, and somehow Damien Faulkner goes around the outside and holds on to his second position under huge pressure from McLaren and Ford behind him as they head into now turn number 12, Tower Turn, and behind that, very sideways Porsche, is Dylan Merkitt in the number 28. Sorry, I couldn't help but giggle there as a huge plume of dust was thrown up from the exit of Tower Turn. Ebb and flow at the front of this field. Damien Faulkner, for the moment, has weathered the storm.
Oh, Guy Cosmo is back on pit lane. I don't know why. He'd got himself back on the lead lap. Oh, no!
Penalty. A drive-through penalty. Pit lane infraction.
Dear, 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 dear. They've done the difficult bit.
Damien Faulkner stays driver's right, now drifts across to the left-hand side as he's defending second place. Maxwell tries down the inside of Chris Hall. Chris Hall just couldn't get turned in. They'll be side by side on the way out, but that means Maxwell's got to pinch the corner on the exit. He can do that in the Ford, but it'll cost him a little bit of momentum. He's just about edged up to the door of the McLaren he's trying to pass. Now they head down towards the first corner, and the McLaren does have the advantage, will turn in from the middle of the road. But a fantastic piece of driving by Scott Maxwell, but he's gone wide. Can he hold on to it? He's on the brakes as he comes through the exit of the corner and somehow holds on to it. Dylan Merkitt having a great view of this. Excuse me, it's not Dylan Merkitt now in the 28 car. It's Dylan Matchevan who is behind the wheel there. They changed over at the pit stop. Mark Miller making good his escape at the moment. And now the CJ Wilson 35 Porsche has to try and somehow hold off the Ford. Wow. Well,
meantime,
if only Damien Faulkner had uncoupled himself from the post he was chained to there as he came out of turn number 6, he might have had a chance, but that Ford just drove straight by him. Meantime, in ST, Owen Trinkler has taken the lead. What a restart from him. Eric Voss now in second, Drake Kemper in third with Spencer Pumpelly charging in the 17 Porsche. Nissan, Porsche, BMW in fifth position.
Yeah, Gregory Liefuger, he's also made up some positions since the restart. A couple following in the wheel tracks of Spencer Pumpelly. Pumpelly, of course, won last year's championship in that car number 17 for RS1. Based in Pompano Beach is the RS1 team with Justin Pellizzoni, and they've done a fantastic job. They've only been in this championship for 2 years, won it last year, won a bunch of races the previous year as well. They're doing just a fantastic job. That's the car number 17, and Spencer Pumpelly, well, you know, he's always a charger. Well,
the car that was leading coming into that pit stop cycle in ST was the 84 BMW. James Clay brought it in the lead. It went out in 13th. Tyler Cook now has it up to 12th. Shea, what went wrong?
Let's ask James, what happened in that pit stop that dropped you guys so far down the field?
Man, I don't know. It's we didn't see fuel come up the vent, and it didn't look like we got a full load of fuel, and so the guys were staying at it, and I don't know. Something's up with that dry brake, and you know, we hope we got a full load. We'll see, but we certainly got a fast car today. So you know, Tyler's out there in good equipment, and hopefully going to be moving forward.
Good luck for the rest of the race.
Thanks a lot.
And there's a new leader. Scott Maxwell has blown past both of the Porsches, and Chris Hall's gone through into third as well. So Maxwell in the 60 Ford leads from in second position. Mark Miller in the 33. That's the CJ Wilson Racing Porsche. Chris Hall in the number 7 McLaren Automatic Racing. And Matt Plum comes into the pit lane to serve a penalty in the 76 McLaren. That will drop him down through the field. By the way, people asking about the number 3 Aston Martin. That car now with Chris Wilson at the wheel has just left the pit lane and is just on the end of the Leeds lap. 12 car back out after its problems as well. That's the Body Motion Racing Porsche. So it's 60 Ford from Porsche in second place. Already a second drop in less than a lap. Scott Maxwell flying in that 60 car. Chris Hall in third position is half a second away from the back of the CJ Wilson Racing car. Then Damien Faulkner in fourth position for the 35, the second of the CJ Wilson cars. He's 8/10 away from Chris Hall. He's got about a 10th in hand over the 28 Porsche that sits in fifth position, and that is the RS1 machine. Making up the top 6, we'll go to the top 6, Jesse Lazare for McLaren. In
it's a big battle
ST,
there.
yeah, that's a huge battle behind Jesse, yeah. All very close together. And in ST, meanwhile, Spencer Pumpelly is up to 3rd ahead of Greg LeFergue in the 81 BMW. In fact, he's been also passed, I think, there on Drake Kemper, is it? No, he's a little bit further up the road, it should be. All of those guys very, very close, though. The 26 Mazda, Andrew Carbonell, being involved in a good scrap as well. A little bit further back is the 84 car. That was, I think, of Tyler Cook getting a big sideways moment and going off stage right. Yeah, that is the Bimmer World car, but somehow he managed to pull it back onto the circuit without losing too much time. And in fact, without Andrew Carbonell getting the space back, well, Tyler Cook was scoring.
Where's the
12th.
Mustang? Maxwell's in the pit lane.
Maxwell in the pit lane. Now, is this another penalty? They were in the pit lane for a very long time. And I wonder if something went wrong there. Meantime, 81 BMW, Greg LeFergue having a look down the inside, trying to get up the inside of Drake Kemper. It's not a penalty, it is a pit stop. It is a pit stop to put in more fuel.
Okay. Wow.
So they didn't get all the fuel in that car, in that rather busy looking pit stop. And they've decided to throw caution to the wind and try now to fill that car. Or, Jeremy, are they playing the long game and saying we can go from 51 minutes and 30 seconds?
Yeah, honestly, I don't know how long these cars can go. I would have thought they could have done an hour. Maybe they can't quite, and if they can't, then you might as well get your stop done sooner rather than later, because we know he's got a very, very, very fast car. The question now is, can any of these other guys stretch their fuel and get to the end? I don't know is the answer to that, because we've got slightly different fuel tank sizes have been adjusted this season, and we don't really know how far they can run.
So Chris Hall leads for McLaren. McLaren leads the Continental Tire SportsCar Challenge. We've got a whole gaggle of McLarens in this race. They look fantastic, they sound fantastic, and now they have the pace with their electrical gremlins sorted after after Daytona, excuse me, it would seem. They are leading the race in the shape of the number 7 automatic racing, the Volt racing car. Adam Brynjolfsson doing a decent job. The man from Tampa, Florida, has handed up to Chris Hall from the UK, and he has got a 2.5 seconds on Mark Miller and Damien Faulkner in the 2 CJ Wilson Racing Porsches. Great battle going on at the front of ST, and Owen Trinkler is back in the lead. Excuse me, Eric Foss is back in the lead over Owen Trinkler.
Yeah, he's just regained that lead on this lap. So, yeah, what a great effort by them. Fantastic battles. Chris Hall has pulled out a little bit now. The ex-Formula Ford racer from the UK has been over here for a long, long time, makes his home in Florida, driving with Alan Brynjolfsson, who did a super first stint for somebody with so little experience. And Chris Hall now has extended a lead of a second or so over that squabbling pack behind him, still led by the 2 CJ Wilson cars with Mark Miller and Damien Faulkner just ahead of Mark Miller now on that last lap. So, boy, this is a tremendous battle at the front of the field.
Well, I'm going to put my head on the block here and say that the CJ Wilson cars can't go an hour and 15 minutes, which is when they stop. Now, they've had some help from yellow, yes, but they are going to have to go a long way into the race unless they are fuel saving already. Damien Faulkner up to 2nd, by the way. Mark Miller's dropped down to 4th, so that's been a shuffle around, and Jesse Lazare up to 3rd. So Hall, McLaren 7. As into the pit lane comes Stephen McAleer in the 25 Mazda.
There's a McLaren going past into 2nd place then, so Jesse Lazare moving past Damien Faulkner.
I'm confused beyond compare here, Jeremy. I think all we've got to do, I think what we've got to do is just look at what's happening on the track and try and make some sense of what happens in about 35 minutes time. Meantime, Scott Maxwell has come back out in 9th position, but right in the middle of the ST battles. He's up with Drake Kemper and goes past the Body Motion number 31 car. That's 6th place in the ST class. And immediately goes past Connor Bloom as well, the number 18 That's the sort of pink coloured car, RS1, that Aurora Strauss was driving earlier on. So this is critical laps for Scott Maxwell. He's got to work his way through this traffic, Jeremy, but what he can't do is take too much out of the tyres, and what he certainly can't do is afford to get spun round, get any kind of penalty if he's going to make this. Although, fuel-wise, he's in the best shape. More problems for the 25, Shea Adam.
Earlier in the week, they were having power steering issues. They were having issues with just about everything on the car. As Stephen McAleer said the other day, their bad luck just continued. Well, they got to the race, felt that they had a pretty good car, and now they have the right rear tire off, and the mechanic working on it is reaching in, checking for fluid on his gloves. They are putting the tire back on. I think this car might be going behind the wall, John.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Thank you, Shea. Shea Adam down in the pit lane with Jim Roller. So 47 minutes to go, and the dice certainly has been rolled by the Koa Motorsports Mustang team. Down to one bullet in the gun. Remember Jack Rouse Jr. charging through the field after being relegated to the back of the starting grid. That car, I'm afraid, calling time just around about the 42-43 minute mark, stopping his run through the field. Christian Simchak, the next driver that will see the bright white headlights of Scott Maxwell, as the number 7, Chris Hall, leads from another McLaren. 7:69 leading. Jesse Lazer, last year's runaway Porsche GT3 Cup champion here in the USA. What a season he had, and he has parlayed that exactly how the ladder system is supposed to work. He's parlayed that into a Continental drive. Jesse getting to grips with a mid-engined McLaren, and is closing down on the leader. Damien Faulkner in the 35 blue and silver CJ Wilson racing car in third position. That's the Porsche. And he is under pressure now from another McLaren. It's the 68. That is the Motorsport in Action Kenny Wilden car. Another Canadian. The Canadians just gravitating to the front of the field this weekend in all of our classes. And the two McLarens now, 7 and 69, absolutely together, and Wilden's gone through. So it's 3 McLarens now. Who would have thunk it? Come down to Florida at the end of the winter, and it's full of Canadians.
Yeah, the veteran there, Kenny Wilden. Great to see him back in action this season with the MIA team, missing in action, but he's doing just a fine job working his way through that traffic there and trying to get himself into contention to win. He's won a lot of races in the past, but it's been a while.
Mark Miller has dropped right off the pace in the 33 car that he took over from Till Bechtolsheim, and he slid down to 7th position. I cannot believe they're going to try and give him a fuel number to get to the end from here. He's just losing too much time. Damien Faulkner now in 4th position, has at least a Porsche to fight now. Dylan Matchovan, although that is the updated GT4, the MR, developed by Olaf Manthey, hence MR Manthey Racing, the guys who based themselves just round the corner from the Nordschleife on just off Gottlieb Daimler Strasse, where all of the major manufacturers have their test centres, tyre companies there as well.
The 2013 GS champion Matt Plum back on pit lane in that car number 76. That's the car that ran 2nd place all the way through the early stages of the race with Paul Holton. It's the 2nd unscheduled pit stop.
That was for fuel, that 2nd one. The first one was a drive-through.
Okay.
So Matt Plum back out in that 76 car that Paul Holton had at the front of the field early on. 3 McLarens dominating at the moment. Are we going to see an all-British car podium here Into the pit lane for Mark Miller, the 33 car, with 43 minutes to go, heads to the pit lane.
Okay, well, I think
and this is good. I mean, that's okay. I see that. Jim Roller, this has got to be strategic. Unless, is there a problem here? Has Mark Miller's pace just worried the team a little?
Well, no, they. I think this is their plan. They can make it to the finish, take 4 tires now. They're basically covering what Scott Maxwell did, and if they can catch a caution, then they'll be right back in the hunt. But if they can't make it, they might as well start now. Back time the race, go as far as you can. He's going to come out right behind Scott Maxwell out on the racetrack.
Did you say they took tires there, Jim, as well?
Yeah, all 4.
Right, that's interesting because Scott Maxwell did not. That was fuel only.
And I think that pretty much answers the question there. Certainly with the Porsche Caymans, that I don't think they can make it to the end of this race without making a pit stop. So the question now is, do the McLarens have to stop as well?
Yeah.
And I think with the fact that 76 car came in a lap or so ago, the answer is probably yes. So the question now for the race leaders, Jesse Lazare having overtaken Chris Hall for the lead of this race in car number 69. The question now, if they stay out, it's a bit of a gamble, because if there is a full course caution, they're
done and done.
Yeah, that's the word.
Done up like a kipper.
So the question now is, how long do they want to stay out there and get the glory of running at the front, or do they want to come in, get that stop completed, then they take out? Of course, if there is a full course caution, maybe they don't need to make a pit stop,
well,
which is probably the case.
Yes.
So it's a gamble either way
how
here.
How close is close?
Yes.
Jesse Lazare now leads from Chris Hall. Lazare, the 69 McLaren, has got to the head of the field and leads by 0.8 of a second. He was the last of those McLarens to pit. The 7 car in second. Kenny Wilden in third in the 68 McLaren. First of the Porsches now Dylan McJavin in the 28 car, as Damien Faulkner has fallen a second behind him. In fact, Faulkner's into the pit lane as Nico Ronde's gone through in 5th position. Jim Roller is at CJ Wilson Racing.
So this is the strategy for these teams, both the 33 and the 35. Damo brings the car to a halt. The crew jumps over the wall. They'll begin fueling. Remember, this team is experimented with all kinds of different ways to try and fuel to get these pit stops down. For this year, they are going with the standard Porsche fueling through the front right fender. 4-tire change. He'll be back underway. This is a good, clean stop. This is one of the better stops we've ever seen from this crew.
Yes, and the point that Jim's making there is the wheel change was done before the fueling was finished. The fuel hatch is closed on the right-hand fender, and as Jim says, that's exactly as you would see on the standard Porsche Cayman or Boxster. It's the 981 shape of that car, and it is down and away. So we'll give you the rundown in a second. In ST, Street Tuner category, Eric Voss has pulled away by about 1.5 seconds from Owen Trinkler, who has Spencer Pumpelly. Well, I was going to say right on his bumper. He's actually right on his door handle now as they're side by side crossing the line in front of us and heading down towards the first corner. Owen Trinkler has position on the inside, but that will allow the Porsche of Spencer Pumpelly to sweep around the outside. Can he hold it? He's got to give racing room to the Nissan on the inside. They're still side by side, heading up through to the Kingdom 2 into turn 3. They're still side by side as they turn in to turn number 3, but Spencer Pumpelly has squeezed ahead. And where has Trinkler gone? Trinkler's dropped back. Trinkler has had to lift out and he's lost another position. It looks to me as though Lefugit's gone through as well, and Connor Bloom is right there. Huge gaggle of cars, and trying to tough it out there has been, I'm afraid, a loss of a couple of positions for Owen Trinkler, who's now got the 81 right alongside him. And right in there as well is the 18 of Connor Bloom.
And you meant, Connor Bloom, he's charging once again, as he did at Daytona. He's set the fastest lap of the race in ST. He's in the 5th position and closing.
Well, Owen did only lose 1 position there. I thought he was going to lose a lot more. He somehow toughed it out. This is all good news for Eric Voss, who's pulling away.
We've got 2 of the Porsche Caymans onto pit lane. The number's 28, that's Dylan Matchavern in the RS1 machine, and John Teesey in number 38 BGB Motorsports cars as well. So that leaves just 4 contenders who have not yet made a pit stop since the caution.
Let's go down in the pit lane for a report on those pit stops. First of all, to Jim Roller.
The 28 car is taking tires, but this looks reminiscent of what we used to see last year with the CJ Wilson guys. They're trying to do the fueling through the front bonnet, and it's taking a long time. They didn't get the fueling seated to begin with, but they did change all 4 tires.
Down at the number 59, the Ford is back in. They have rubber to go on the car, but it is not new. These are not sticker Continentals. They look pretty well worn, in all honesty. Doing the left side tires now. Fuel's still going in, so right now they've lost no time, but the outsides of the left rear tire that came off, and the right rear for that matter, actually, looking very worn and discolored, almost a light gray on this car. Now they are just beginning to do the right sides, putting those new-ish tires onto the Mustang as the 28 rolls back out the pit lane. Fuel is done. Now they are losing time that they did not have to give up. Car comes down off the jacks. Maxwell, again, having trouble knocking the car into gear, and now gets it going.
Right, I'm very confused there. Are you sure that wasn't the 59 car?
It was the 59 car.
Thank you very much indeed. Doesn't take a lot to confuse me, but thank you, Shea. So that was the Jack Rouse Jr. car, which clearly, having been recovered back to the pit lane, has gone back out again.
Testing.
Bit of testing for that car. It's still listed as Jack Rouse Jr. behind the wheel. Dean Martin yet to get in that car. In comes the 68 car. That is Kenny Wilden in the McLaren from 3rd position. Jim Roller.
The irascible Canadian has brought the McLaren to a stop up on the jacks. Fuel going in, all 4 tires. This seems to be de rigueur for everybody but Scott Maxwell. 4 new tires and fuel.
Thank you. That is very, very good pit work indeed down there. Great battle going on behind Connor Bloom, Matt Pombo, Drake Kemper, Britt Casey Jr. battling for 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th. The Mini number 73 looking somewhat incongruous in all those low-slung sports cars. It sits up a lot higher than them all. A little bit of bump drafting from the 26 Freedom Motorsport car of Andrew Carbonell on Britt Casey Jr., Matt Pombo and Drake Kemper ahead of them. That little Mazda engine being revved within an inch of its life. Huge sideways slide by the body motion car of Drake Kemper. And the Mini being thrown in sideways to the right-hander at Le Mans before the long back straight. Andrew Carbonell absolutely revving the Mazda to the max in behind the similar car of Britt Casey Jr. He ducks out the driver's right. Classic overtaking manoeuvre into turn 17. Drifts a little bit wide in the centre of the corner, but has scrubbed off enough speed to get the line back. And in fact, he can pinch the corner a tiny little bit and will come out almost side by side with the Mini. Drops back in and takes the aero advantage from being in the hole behind that much. And it's not very often you see that much bigger Mini, but it's huge compared to those 2 Masters behind it. You can't see them.
That's a fantastic battle in ST. We've got the first 5 cars nose to tail, and then the next 4 cars as well. Tremendous battling. There's a new leader who's got from 3rd to 1st. Yeah, Spencer Papelli, is that right?
Yes. Eric Voss is still out in front, Jeremy. He's caught up in behind one of the Minis, the 37 car, I think it is, that he's come through, but it's Spencer Papelli in 2nd. He lost 2nd for a moment to Owen Trinkler, but got it back on the outside of turn number 4. Then it's the 81 BMW, then it's Connor Bloom. They're all in there. 34 car is a lap down, that's Christian Simchak. In fact, he's a couple of laps down on this battle, but he's enjoying, at least watching it. He's got a grandstand seat at the moment. Eric Voss is 1.3 seconds ahead of this battle. Back to Jim Roller for more pit stop action.
69 car is in, 4 tires. Very interesting. They just used a dump bottle from the lead. The 69 McLaren came in, and they just used a dump bottle. So they put about 5 or 6, however big one of the dump bottles is. That's all the fuel they put in. So that made for a very quick pit stop.
Meantime, Shea Adam, we've got the Ford Mustang back in, and it is the 59 again.
It is the 59. Serves me right for standing in front of the car where you can't see the number if you're down low enough. Now behind it, can't see that 59. It's running. It's in its pit box. It has the air jack plugged in, but it is still on its 4 tires. And other than that, there is nothing happening with this Mustang. Now a mechanic jumps over the wall, pulls the air jack back out of the car, and still nothing. Very odd stuff going down here at the Core Motorsports pit box.
Okay, so we've got 2 cars that have yet to make their final pit stops, we assume. Chris Hall and Nicholas Ronde, number 7 and number 77 car, they lead the race. In 3rd place on the road now with that pit stop for number 69 is Scott Maxwell. Behind him is a huge gap to everybody else. Everybody else is miles behind. That strategy by the Core Motorsport team to bring him in early, get him in relatively clean traffic and set some fast laps is working out massively in the favour of Scott Maxwell and Jade Buford.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that. And Chris Wilson, by the way, is now in 5th position in the number 3 Aston Martin after all its trials and tribulations. They've made 4 trips through the pit lane. But now sitting in 5th position, Jesse Lazare will rejoin, I think just behind them. That might be right somewhere near the Mark Miller and Damien Faulkner show. As through goes the leader, Chris Hall. Nico Ronde about a second behind, waiting for Scott Maxwell to come through. It's a big, big gap. 69, Jesse Lazare in the white, black and blue. McLaren is in elegant isolation at the moment. So, did he get out ahead of Chris Wilson? He must have. Meanwhile, everybody's had a turn at leading, or at least being second in ST. Eric Voss's lead is going up to 2 seconds now because Spencer Pumpelly, Owen Trinker, Greg Lefeuge and Connor Bloom. Greg Lefeuge in the 4th position, BMW number 81. Connor Bloom just about 0.8 of a second further back, but they're all tripping each other up, having a great time and providing fantastic entertainment for the fans around the circuit, but it's not quick. Kenny Wilden throws in the fastest mid-sector time of anybody in the 9th place, number 68 McLaren. And Chris Wilson's just put that car's fastest lap in, that car being the number 3 Aston. A 15.0, follows it up with a 15.4. That's actually pretty good lappery. But Scott Maxwell in the 14s, the only car in the 14s, and in the 14.5. He's a second quicker than anybody else on the circuit at the moment, at least a second. And Shea Adam, the question would be to me, with all that messing around in and out the pit lane, is that number 64 fueled to the end of the race in 30.5 minutes time?
According to our pole sitting driver, I asked him, he was sitting on the wall, I said, you guys good on fuel? And he goes, yep, we are.
I thought you were going to say that. According to a poll of 100 people. Very good, Shea, thank you for that. It's now going to be how far do Chris Hall and Nico Ronde go into this race in the 7 and 77, the 2 McLarens from C360R, the 77 car, and Automatic Racing, Volt Racing. Great to see the 2 McLarens out front. Meantime, ST need a battle. Call ST. 31, Drake Kemper having a cracking scrap with Andrew Carbonell and just takes that position being 7th in their category, 17th overall. And meantime, a little further up the field, the 52 Mini has got the battle for second behind it. They've just been lapped by Eric Voss, that 52 car. That's the bright yellow and black Mini. Eric Voss has gone through. Spencer Pumpelly and Trinkler very close in behind as the 76 McLaren of Matt Plum was just getting by one of the Mazdas. That must have been the 26 car. A little bit of a hip check there for the 31 of Drake Kemper to take the position on the 26 Mazda. Actually, that must be a lap down the 26 car, is it? Or is it in that scrap?
No,
it is. It was Andrew
yeah,
Carpenter.
no,
Sorry.
Yeah. Taking over from Liam Dwyer, did a really good first stint. New fastest lap of the race there from Kenny Wilden. He's down in 9th place. That's the bad news. The good news, he's got a really quick car.
2:13.3. That's hugely quick.
Yeah, 13.4 was the fast lap, but early in the race by Paul Holton.
In another McLaren, of
Indeed.
course. But that's I mean, that's a 2.5 seconds faster than Scott Maxwell, who was the fastest guy in the circuit. Jesse Lazaire picking up some pace as well with a 14.3. So traffic clearly playing its part here, but those McLarens are mighty fast in clean air. A turbocharged engine, of course, so maybe not just having the poke and the torque through the traffic, which was where the Mustang scores, of course. So Andrew Carbonell, 26, the black, the green and white machine. The Mazda MX-5 being chased now by Tyler Cook, trying to make up for the problems in the pit stop. Owen Trinkler in the Nissan Altima, still sitting in 3rd position behind Spencer Pumpelly. They've got that number 52 Mini Pombo behind the wheel of that car. 52 Mini is not in that fight. And Mark Pombo from Georgia really needs to just slide to one side and allow Owen Trinkler through so that he can continue the battle. And another problem for the 34. This is the car that we've called the number of too many times today. Christian Simchak at the wheel of that car. And the Murillo Racing Mazda has been in the wars, got hit by the Aston Martin early on. Couple of spins too, back on the circuit now.
Somebody else's smoke there, though, wasn't there? That wasn't the smoke from number 34 car. There's a bit of a smoke train on one side of the racetrack, it looked like. I mean, the battle for the lead, mind you, continues. Chris Hall under increasing pressure now from Nicholas Ronde, number 7 and 77, the two McLarens, pretty much nose to tail.
Yeah, 7 and 77, don't be fooled into thinking that they are teammates. They're both driving McLaren. It's the automatic racing car that leads. That's the 7 car. The 77 is one of the Compass 360 racing cars, or the C360R machines.
And there's another change of position between the CJ Wilson racing cars. Number 35 now comes back ahead of number 33. They've been changing places fairly regularly.
Yeah, courtesy of a half-second quicker lap last time around from Damien Faulkner.
Kenny Wilden, excuse me, John. Kenny Wilden just moved a place ahead of John Teesey. That is for 8th position.
And at turn 10, Christian Simchak's car has ground to a halt. That's the 34 machine. Now, that is in a dangerous position. It is right in the runoff area, and it can't be left there, and it won't be retrieved with a local yellow. So, the leaders almost together coming down the back straight. 7, bright yellow and black, 25.5 to go. Then black and orange for the 77. Very different lines from Chris Hall, Nicholas Ronde. As they've, oh my goodness, they've got the traffic that is battling for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th in ST. Actually 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th. Pumpelly, Trinkler, Lee Fergie and Connor Bloom are all ahead of them. Scott Maxwell on the back straight now, just weaving left and right, trying to clean off the Continental tyres. Fuel to the end of the race. The two leaders, not so much, and under 37 seconds. And it's a full course caution. The pits are closed. This is for the 34 Mazda. Now, who got in? Somebody dived in there. It's one of the Mustangs. It's the 59 car.
Not way out of contention, so
it's all right.
Not significant. Yep, no,
I
well
was
spotted.
just wondering
well spotted.
If that was the 60 car and they'd pulled an absolute flanker. Jesse Lazaire, just as his fastest lap of the race, he comes to the line there. 2:14.3, 2:14.8 for Dylan Matchoven.
Yeah, this is... well, we'll find out whether it's good news or bad news for the two McLarens that are out in front of this race. Can they now stretch their fuel load to the end of the race? Even if they can, however, the number 60 car
it's going to close right up.
Yeah, and it's not much quicker in terms of lap time. But
When was the last caution?
Lap 23. We're now on lap 38.
All right, so it's not a quickie caution situation.
No.
So it is a full house caution.
And
which
what you
means
mean
you
by
have to go
that
through.
for non-regular viewers, a quickie caution is one that comes within 15 minutes of a restart from another caution period. And in that case, we do not go through the pit stop sequence. So the quickie yellow, they will just pack up behind the safety car, clean up whatever mess is on the racetrack, and go back to racing again. There won't be the wave arounds or the pit stops or anything.
Correct. Whereas here we'll get behind the safety car, pits will open for GS cars, next lap around pits
And we'll go
for ST, and then third time for everybody, and then there's a wave by and a pass around and a door-see-door, and then the lights go out and we're racing again.
And one guy we haven't talked about really at all, it probably is Chris Wilson, who's hanging in there in the 5th position in car number 3. That's the TRG Aston Martin. That car was started by Craig Lyons, the number 3 Aston. We saw, I think Chris had to serve a drive-through penalty, I believe, right after the restart. But that car, despite that, is up into the 5th position overall, and we'll have to wait and see whether the 2 race leaders, number 7 and the 77, do need to pit.
Magnificent racing again in the Continental Tire SportsCar Challenge. This is the Visit Sebring 120. Hello to Slade Perrins, who is tuned in from Australia. Can't even begin to do the arithmetic to work out what time it was. I know that he was listening on his way to school this morning to some of the action that was super early on. I completely lost what date is even in Australia from here. But Slade, good to know that you're watching and enjoying it, enjoying what's going on. It's just coming to 22 minutes to go as the Christian Simchek Mazda, the 34 car, is getting a flat toe. Great stuff by the Sebring rescue team and the IMSA safety workers. That car is off the circuit already, but of course now that we've gone into full course caution, we have to go through the
first of all, there'll be a wave around because there's a bunch of ST cars that are trapped behind the safety car that yet have not yet been lapped by the ST leader, which is Eric Foss. So those cars will be waved around the safety car, and the other cars are in front of them, between themselves and the safety car. Then we have to run all around and catch up to the back of the pack.
But I wonder if there's somebody at the McLaren Technical Centre watching Tim McLaren's first and second here and thinking, if only we could have that. First round of the FIA Formula 1 World Championship next weekend, of course, in Australia. Set to be a very interesting season. Intrigue and potential rule changes part of the way through this season. Protests, perhaps, as well. Keep in touch with that and motor racing from all around the world on Midweek Motorsport over on our sister channel, RadioLeMans.com. 8 o'clock every Wednesday. That will be 4 o'clock next week, Eastern, just for one more week before the clocks change in Europe. And then it goes back to a 5-hour time difference. So that'll come back to 3 o'clock after next Wednesday. If it has wheels and they keep score, we'll talk about it. Sometimes in somewhat less than complimentary terms, but all a bit of fun. Now, we have the wave by about to start with cars who believe that they are eligible pulling out to the right-hand side on the back straight. Good place to do it. And this is the gaggle of ST cars that Jeremy was talking about. Make the point again, and we've said this a few times in the past, that nobody tells the teams. There's not a number list read out by race control. It is, we will be doing the wave by at certain part of the circuit, in certain part of the circuit here, and go. And if you're eligible, you go, and if you're not, you don't. And if you aren't and you do go, you get a huge penalty. And if you don't and you don't go, it's your problem. So the top of the field is bunched back together. The pits are still closed at this point.
Yeah, they probably will be until next lap, I think.
This might be helping the McLarens. When did the McLarens last stop?
Oh yeah, well they stopped under before the during the caution period. So they had to go at 59 minutes it was when we had the restart, plus 2 laps of caution.
Right.
So this is going to be a lengthy yellow. So I would fancy they might well be able to make it. We saw the number 76 and the number 60 car come in for their pit stops just a couple of laps after the restart. So that would have been with about 55 minutes to go in this race. So I think this caution is going to be long enough for number 7 and 77 to stay out and not require any more fuel.
I can't remember if the second time it came in, the Ford took tyres. I know it didn't the first time. It was just a
I think you said it
splash of fuel the first time it came in. But the second time it came in, did it take tyres? Not sure. However, so it was again fuel only, so they're going to be on extremely old tyres.
They're not on the same set of tyres from the beginning, are they?
I know they
stopped.
When Jade Buford got out, I think they did tyres, but I don't think they've done any since
on
then.
The second stop, right.
Yeah.
That's just made 2 stops at...
yes, it has,
yeah.
that's right, with the... Correct, that is correct. The 2 CJ Wilson cars did do tyres. They're fueled to the end of the race in 6th and 7th. They'll get to pack up as well. So in terms of tyre wear, are the 2 CJ Wilson cars the highest placed of the cars that stopped last, if you see what I mean? 35 and 36 stopped on lap 31 and 32. Yeah.
What was the question?
They did tyres, the CJ Wilson guys.
Okay, yeah.
So they're in pretty good shape. We know the fuel to the end, and they have relatively new Continentals on them. And they are pretty light on their tyres anyway.
Yeah, the McLaren's out in front, of course. They have older tyres, but they have very little fuel on board, so relative to the other guys. So they've got a weight advantage there. This is a real swings and roundabouts thing. It's going to be fascinating to see.
As we get towards the end of the race, they should all have about the same amount of fuel.
Well, no. Yes.
I suppose anybody who was fueled to the end could actually run more aggressively.
Right. No, you're right.
But it's got to be roughly similar to get you to the end.
You're right.
Otherwise, it's cough splutter.
Of course.
Oh dear. The guys behind who fueled to the end might have a little bit more in you. I mean, it's going to be marginal.
Yeah, it is.
But Chris Hall and Nico Ronde going, no, happy for the safety car. Stay out for an hour. That's fine. We actually only need 16 minutes and 18 seconds. Scott Maxwell in 3rd position. What a return to racing again for this man. They are going very slowly, Jeremy. The last lap was 3 minutes 40 for the leaders.
Yeah, not quite sure why it was that slow.
The pass around cars are having trouble to catch up. I think that's why we are pushing the safety car speed down a tiny bit. Now the pit lane is still closed right now. I shall tell you when the light goes off, because there's one right in front of us, handily placed by the IMSA officials. I'm sure that we weren't instrumental in the positioning of that, but never mind.
With so little time to go in the race, it really shouldn't be anybody needs a pit stop. If the McLarens don't need a pit stop, no one does. Look, the lights are out on the safety car, so...
Right. Okay, so right, I'm very confused now.
No, I mean, they don't need they had, I think they would have had an opportunity last time around to pit if they wanted to.
So the pit's never opened, Jeremy, because we're in 30 minutes of the end of the race, but they did the pass around anyway for the ST cars. We're back to green with 15 minutes to go.
For Chris Hall.
Awful start for Chris Hall, and by the line, he's already relegated to 3rd position, and Scott Maxwell goes from 3rd to take the lead, but can he hold on to it, hold down the inside? Here comes one of the body motion cars around the outside. That's the 12 car, but that's laps down in the hands of Trent Hindman. So Maxwell has his job made easy by a poor start from the leader. Maxwell, Ronde, Hall, Lazar, Wilson, Fulton and Miller as they went across the line. Then Wilden, Matt Sherman and Matt Plum for the top 10. And barely half a second between any of those cars that I mentioned there. So Scott Maxwell now sets sail for the checkered flag. There's lapped cars in there as well. Trent Hindman getting involved. The number 3, Chris Wilson, doing a cracking job in the Aston. Ford, and then 4 British cars, 3 McLarens and an Aston Martin. Is this a chance for the Empire to strike back here with just under 14 minutes to go? In ST, Eric Voss, Spencer Pumpelly, Owen Trinkler absolutely together across the line, with Connor Bloom about a second and a half further back. That's 56 Porsche, 17 Porsche, 44 Nissan. It's the black and pink car. Pink or purple. Oh, we were told it was pink earlier on, weren't we? By Sarah. She said it's definitely pink. 76 and 12. Not battling for position.
Dark pink.
Dark pink. Matt Plum, he's had a great restart as well.
Yeah.
Maxwell, 2 seconds to the good. He's clearing off here. This could not have worked out better for the Kerr Motorsports Ford team. 77 and 7, now battling for second position. Ronde holding off Chris Hall and Lazare. Chris Wilson in the Aston. 59 Ford back in the mix there as well before we see the battle for ST lead. Porsche, Nissan. Through turn 17 for that ST battle. And Eric Voss, Spencer Pumpelly, Owen Trinkler. Well, there's some experience in that trio, isn't there? With Connor Bloom just hanging in there a little further back in third position. 3 McLarens battling for second place before an Aston Martin. Then the first of the Porsches is Damien Faulkner in 6th place. Already 4.5 seconds behind the leader though, that 6th position car. Scott Maxwell, 2:15.001 last time around, 2:17 for everyone else.
Yeah, and the leaders have been doing low to mid 15s before that round of pit stops. They've been 14s earlier on, a few 14s earlier on. But that's a really good restart lap by Scott Maxwell. That just shows you how in tune he is with that car. Got a lot of testing to develop that car for the new GT4 specifications. Was very, very strong at Daytona. Without a penalty there, they would probably have won the race. So he's looking for a little bit of redemption, I would suggest, here this afternoon.
And all of a sudden, the top 5 in ST are all together as Owen Trinkler tries a move on the far side of the circuit into the heavy braking area. Trinkler in second place at the moment through turn number 10 in front of the famous campsite area, but it's still Voss, Trinkler, Pumpelly, Bloom, Lee Fergie and Matt Pombo closing in. No, he's not. He's about 20 seconds further back.
Yeah, he's a long way back, because those are the rest of the guys
that got the wave
around, so they weren't able to catch up to the back of the pack before we went back to green. But what used to be called the Purple People Eater, didn't it, that number 44 car? Anyway, Owen Trinkler's got past Spencer Pumpelly, which is no mean feat, and now he's really putting the pressure on Jeff Voss. How much bigger the frontal area is on the Nissan compared to the Porsche Cayman.
Eric Voss leading and turns into the final right-hander. The Nissan just couldn't carry the speed through there, the back end going out, and Voss goes defensive very early. He's pulled to the right-hand side. Owen Trinkler is trusting the ponies that's pulling the Nissan along. He's got up to the quarter panel, but he's not close enough. He'll dive to the inside. Meantime, the leading pack have gone through in front of us, and the 7 car has slowed. Chris Hall has slowed and dropped away. He's down. He's dropping through the field. He's gone down to 9th, 10th position. Now, is the damage on that car? Chris Hall was in 3rd position. That is now Jesse Lazare, then Chris Wilson for Aston Martin. Damien Faulkner in 5th now for CJ Wilson Racing. Mark Miller's dropped away as well. Dylan Matchoven is behind Demo. Faulkner then 5th, 6th for the 28 Porsche. Kenny Wilden for McLaren 68. Now that car has stopped. There can be no doubt that that 68 McLaren is fueled to the end and off at turn number 7. The hairpin
has gone someone
in the dirt. It's the 28 car. It's not been a...
Oh. That was...
well, that's Matchoven.
Yeah,
that was Matchoven, who was right behind...
Place, yes.
right behind Faulkner. He was in 6th position, and he's had a bit of help here, has he? From the 68 car. Yes, he has. And that was the 68 car
Oh,
Kenny Wilden.
that was bizarre.
About 10 days ago, Dylan Matchoven won the Trans Am 2 race here at Sebring, and he's had a little helping hand there from Wilden, who has also dropped back down through the order. So Mark Miller is back to 6th position. Meanwhile, in ST,
Tremendous battle going on there. They were pretty much side by side. Yeah, absolutely nose to tail. We've got a Cayman, we've got the Nissan, we've got another Cayman, we've got another Cayman, and a BMW.
hello, race control. Yeah, can we have another half an hour of this,
yes, please?
I know there's only 8 minutes supposed to be left, but can we add on 30? Yeah, thank you. The stomping that I heard on the ceiling above me was, I think, saying absolutely not. We've got things to do tonight, Hindhoff. We can't just play to you. Oh, Dylan Matchoven, what a shame. That car is hobbled down the back straight and has the ST leaders coming on it. And again, Owen Trinkler is forcing Eric Voss to go down the inside. Trinkler dragging the 17, Spencer Pumpelly, and the 18 is in there as well. That is Connor Bloom, the red, white and blue Porsche. And then behind that, the BMW, the unmistakable outline of the BMW of Greg Leeferge, who is in 5th position. Matt Pombo not gaining on these guys at the moment. He's about 23 seconds further back down the field. But the top 5 will do for the moment for me. Slight mistake was the by Voss. He comes out to turn number 1, has to defend from the middle of the road through 2 and 3.
He's having to do a lot of defending. That Nissan is really quick on the straights, and so Eric Voss just got to put his car where Owen Trinkler wants to put his car. He's got to prevent him from doing so. It's a fascinating battle going on at the front.
Credit where it's due, Jeremy.
Yes.
He's making that decision very, very early. He's already to the driver's right as he comes out of turn 6. In fact, he held a tight line through 6 on the new tarmac in the braking area for 7 at the hairpin. And just for a moment there, I thought Spencer Pumpelly was under pressure, as Matchoven has made it back to the pit lane. Out of 6th position, that incident. He was right behind Damien Faulkner, who has got past the Aston. Damo's got past the Aston of Chris Wilson and is now up into 4th position. Faulkner charging in the last 6 minutes of the race.
On St. Patrick's Day.
Well, can he get up onto the podium? A Ford and 2 McLarens at the moment. He's got 2.6 seconds between himself and Jesse Lazare, the Canadian sensation from the Porsche Cup last time around. Let's have a quick word with Dylan Matchoven after being unceremoniously hiked out of the race at 6th position.
Dylan, what happened? Your car's looking a little second-hand.
Yeah, we were running clean out there, just cutting through the field after a slow fuel fill. We had something go wrong with the fuel rig on that final pit stop, but one of the white McLarens just dive-bombed me into the hairpin and T-boned me pretty hard. Yeah, you hate to see it for the guys who worked so hard to get this car back together after practice, but that's racing.
All right, better luck next time.
Yeah, another really good run by that team. I mean, they run superbly well at Daytona as well.
I think that was Tyler Cook's car going very slowly.
Looked like a BMW, didn't it?
In the background. No, it wasn't. It was the 81 car. It was Greg Leeferge. He's dropped off the back of this, which is another BMW. I thought it was the 84 car. It wasn't. It was the 81.
Yeah, no, the 81 is ahead of the 84. The 84 car's a little bit farther back. The 81 car was in that lead battle,
and it's dropped out now.
Yes.
And there's problems for it. It's not going to get all the way down the back straight. Is this going to be yet another full course yellow? It's stopped halfway down the back straight. It's off the circuit. It's got a problem with the steering. Now, has that been contact or is something broken? The back end and the front end of the car weaving around there. Greg Lee, is he out of fuel? He's weaving it sideways. Is Leeferge out of fuel with 4 minutes to go in ST? Well, what does that mean if that's true? My goodness, we could be right on the ragged edge of ST here. We've seen this happen before. Spencer Pumpelly has lost positions, lost race wins in the last few moments of races with a cough, a splutter, and the car failing to finish. So the 5 that were battling for the lead in ST are now just 4.
Yeah.
Voss, Trinkler, Pumpelly and Bloom.
And we have lost, have we not, the number 7 car somewhere out on track as well, as Eric Voss still maintaining that inside lane. He's leaving no room at all for Owen Trinkler to even think about sneaking down the inside, going into one of these corners.
Very slow lap last time around from Chris Hall, a 2:22. That car was going backwards and is now down in 18th position. Trinkler and Voss battling away. Damien Faulkner puts his fastest first sector of the race in. Last time around, he did a 15.5. The car's best time, a 14.5. So he's not gaining at the moment on the cars ahead of him. He's 3.7 seconds side by side for the leading ST. Through the Le Mans corner, there's contact, and Voss goes off backwards. 2 cars side by side. It was never going to end well. It was the Jean de Bienne corner, in fact, and Spencer Pumpelly uses all of his experience to go from 3rd to 1st in one swift, clean manoeuvre. Well, I'm not sure. Well, it looked to me as though Trinkler got ahead. He did. Trinkler got ahead for a moment. Oh, and Voss was off the track. Voss was off the track, driver's left, tries to come round the outside and pinches down. Sorry, you cannot fault the Nissan driver for that. You cannot fault it.
I don't think so. I think Eric there was just getting a little bit desperate to maintain that position. He knew he could brake a little bit later than the Nissan. That's fine, but he can't turn in.
Yeah, he's got to hold a wider line. I didn't see any indication there of the Nissan moving over. Racing room was given there. Eric Voss had to go pretty much all the way off the track on driver's left and straight line the Jean de Bienne bends to get into the position and take the momentum into the final right-hander before the back straight. Pumpelly, back end of the car, squirming around. So having got to the lead for what, maybe 100 yards, Owen Trinkler has to do it again, and Pumpelly goes wide. Just about holds on to it, but here comes the Nissan again. Scott Maxwell by 2.9 seconds, still faster than anyone other than Jesse Lazare at the head of the field. Lazare just 0.6 behind Nico Ronde. Damien Faulkner closing in as well. He's closed down a couple of tenths that last lap around.
Tell you what, we saw number 80, excuse me, the 81 BMW slowed. Where's the 84 car as well? Did that come
no, that's
through?
In 6th position.
Fine,
yeah, Tyler Cook went through.
Yep. But the number 54 car is another BMW. I don't think did on that last lap, so he was slowing as he came past us to complete the previous lap. So 2 of the BMWs slowed right towards the end of this race.
The white flag is out for Scott Maxwell, but the battle for second, Nico Ronde going into turn 1 as Jesse Lazare right in his wheel tracks. Ronde in the black and orange 360R colours, the white machine, the 69 in second position of motorsport in action. And Spencer Pumpelly still leading in the ST category, but barely.
Number 3 Aston's gone missing as well, out of 5th position. That has put Matt Plum all the way back up into 5th place now with the problems for the Aston. I guess that must be out of fuel as well. Those automatic racing guys, they always stretch it to the limit on fuel. I think once again, it might have bitten them.
There's an Aston Martin stopped to pit in, we think.
Yeah, okay, a little bit.
The ST guys have still got to see the white flag here, Jeremy, so they're going to give us a bit extra. We asked for 120 minutes in the visit at Sebring 120. We're going to get considerably more than that as the leaders come through, and it is just going to be these last 2 as Connor Bloom drops away from 3rd position. It was 5, then 4, then 3, now just the 2 for the leading ST as Connor Bloom is dropping away. All of a sudden a slow lap at the end of the lap for Connor Bloom. Is he in fuel trouble as well? The ST category pushing it to the max. Scott Maxwell's eased his pace as well, but only to a 15.1. Surely he isn't in fuel trouble. They were fairly confident that they were fueled to the end.
That's going to move Matt Pombo up into 5th place in the Mini, by the way.
Yeah, ahead of Mark Miller. It was just a 1.5 seconds or so behind. Do you know what? It's not 5 seconds now between the leader and the chasing McLaren, and it's Jesse Lazare. Lazare, the white McLaren, is in 2nd position. The leader flashing lights at the 65 Porsche as he comes through the final corner. And will he go through to take the checkered flag over to the wall? Wheels back in front of the 65 car, and does take the win. What a drive from Scott Maxwell. The pace of that Ford, outstanding. We saw it early on from the 59 car in the hands of Jack Rouse Jr., and when it was required by Scott Maxwell, turned up to 11.
But great strategy as well by
Very
that core motorsport team, and tremendous driving also by Scott Maxwell. Look at this
Lazar
battle.
in second and Rondé in third. 2 McLarens on the podium. Damien Faulkner in fourth position. Meantime, ST have half a lap to go, and Spencer Pumpelly is on the absolute edge. Lots of steering being put into that car as he was just guiding it through the Jean de Bienne corners, the whole of the car moving gently from side to side. Now he's got the Ullman straight and turn 17.
He's got a 3 or 4 car length lead coming off the Jean de Bienne. Is that going to be enough?
Looks
like it.
It's going to be very, very close. Is Owen Trinkler going to make a dive down the inside? He stood in victory lane with his teammate Sarah Catania last time. He's going for a very, very late turn in. He's going to try the cut back and the run to the line. He's closing down. Spencer Pumpelly can't afford to get sideways here. He's right off to the right-hand side. Now pulls it to the centre, and Pumpelly will take ST by a couple of cars' lengths. Half a second in time. Now, Eric Voss has come back on the track, and Connor Bloom did slow right down. I think he was out of fuel, and Eric Voss will be on the podium. That's going to be interesting. Head down to the pit lane, and let's get to the winners. Scott Maxwell and Jade Buford is with Jay Adam.
And Jade, you said this is exactly how you wanted it to go. When he put the car on pole, first position, brought it home in the exact same. That was a hard-fought battle, though.
Yeah, Paul did a great job. It was like a whole lot of McLaren in my mirrors for a while, but we were able to stay out front, and that's exactly what we wanted. Just wanted to be able to control our own race, and we did exactly that. The guys on the box were great calling the strategy. They really put us in the position to win this one, and we brought it home, so I couldn't be happier.
So you did it with 51 minutes and a caution. Does he have enough fuel in the car to go do some burnouts?
I think we're okay if he can figure out how to turn off the traction control.
Challenge extended, Scott Maxwell.
Brilliant stuff. And what a win in ST for Spencer Pumpelly.
And Connor Bloom did get to the checkered flag, by the way, about a mirror's length, because there's a mirror actually sitting in the middle of the road here by start-finish line. Incredibly tight, a very, very slow final lap, but he just about limped ahead across the line, ahead of Tyler Cook in the number 84 BMW, and then Andrew Carbonell and Britt Casey Jr. right there as well in the 2 Freedom Motorsport Mazdas.
Experience pays for Spencer Pumpelly, and the 17 RS Porsche and Nick Galante did the heavy lifting at the start of the race.
Let me check these fingernails. Oh, yeah, there's a little bit left there. You were chewing those bad boys off.
Oh my God, I almost got down to my ring that Erica Freestone made. But I'll tell you what, Spencer, we had a fading brake pedal that we were hoping to hold on to, and it was going almost to the floor, and he was still doing that with that going to the floor. So amazing job by Spencer, of course. Unbelievable. What a great weekend. And, you know, I've reset my mindset for this season, coming into Daytona and coming here to Sebring, and really trying to focus hard, and it's sure paying off. And the help from Spencer and Team RS1, amazing job.
All right, congratulations. Go celebrate.
Thank you so much.
Wow, what another fantastic, competitive, exciting, and possibly controversial race. No news of any penalties for the door banging in ST at the moment. So as it stands, as the checkered flag is handed over to Scott Maxwell, as he gets first gear, and the Kerr Racing team chalk up a victory at Sebring. Oh, and in fact, he's missed the turn off back into the only mistake that they've made. He's missed the turn into the back of the paddock with the Mustang. Maybe he has to flick that car around on the diff, is all I'm saying. Brilliant stuff, Jeremy, for this. Unofficial results then see Scott Maxwell and Jay Buford win it for 660, and Jesse Lazare coming home in second position in the 69 McLaren. Chris Green starting that car. Nico Rondé in third position. Matt Keegan in the traffic early on. That's your top 3 in GS.
Unofficially, championship points in GS. I reckon Scott Maxwell and Jade Buford will lead the points after this weekend. They finished 5th at Daytona with the fastest lap of the race, which this year is worth 1 championship point. 62 points for them, 58 for Russell Ward and Damien Faulkner, 57 for their teammates as CJ Wilson Racing, Till Bechtelsheimer and Mark Miller, and 55 points for the Daytona winner Cameron Castles and Trent Hindman.
So Jim Roller has just been asked a very interesting question by the ST winners.
I was just following Jeff Mosing, who's not happy. He was headed down the back of the pits, and I just thought I'd tag along just to make sure nothing untoward happened. And up comes Nick Gallant next to me, and he says, "Podium is this way, isn't it?"
Yeah,
Yep, just keep going.
This is the Tequila Patron winners circle here at Sebring for the Visit Sebring 120 second round of the Continental Tires SportsCar Challenge for 2017. And provisionally then in ST, the 17 RS1 Porsche, Spencer Pumpelly and Nick Galanti take it by half a second in the end from the 44 Nissan, Owen Trinkler and Sarah Catania in second. Eric Voss and Jeff Mosing in the 56 Murillo Racing Porsche in third, and that does what to the points?
Well, interesting, the top 5 finishes here exactly the same as at Daytona,
wow,
albeit in a different order. Now, though, I think that Nick Gallant and Spencer Pumpelly will lead on 65 points to the 63 of the Daytona winner, Derek Jones and Matt Pombo, 62 of Jeff Mosing and Eric Voss, 58 of Sarah Catania and Owen Trinkler, and 55 of Aurora Strauss and Connor Bloom. Who did get, I believe, the fastest lap of the race. So just tremendous battling there in both of the classes. And I tell you what, my hat's off to the IMSA technical team here. That we talked about it. We didn't know how long they could go on fuel. They wanted to make sure that it wasn't easy for them. It wasn't, was it?
No, not at all. When we got to the end of the race, fabulous job by the 77 team. Nico Ronde managed to get that car at the end. I think the 7 car was really struggling. Chris Hall at the end dropping away. Well, once again, the IMSA Continental Tire SportsCar Challenge has delivered on its promise to bring us tight, exciting racing in both of its categories. Round 2 then. Congratulations to Ford and to Porsche. McLaren on the podium, and Nissan and Porsche sharing the podium in ST. Thank you to our pit lane team of Shea Adam and Jim Roller. Jeremy Shaw was with me, John Hindhaugh in the studio. I hope you'll want to join us again, that you've enjoyed what you've seen and heard. And of course, the whole of the rest of the season will be here live on IMSA Radio.
Yeah.